Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope my Garage Army had an awesome week. I actually had a really nice week. One reason is I got to go on a field trip to a place that I'd never been before, and that was fun. More on that in a little bit. I actually don't have a lot to talk about this week, and there is a reason for that, and I'm going to go into that in detail because I don't have much else to speak about, so I have to drag out what little I have. So I only have one movie to talk about. I have 3 books, 1 comic book, and then I have a couple of pseudo controversies. Let's start with this. So on the way home today, I stopped at the local book drop, and someone had put in two GRE, quantitative reasoning, and verbal reasoning. And so my daughter was visiting after, when she usually visits on Fridays. So while I was eating dinner, I was flipping through the quantitative reasoning and asking questions. And my husband's like, "You're giving me a headache." And he got up and ran out of the room. So I was like, oops. So no more quantitative reasoning at the dinner table. When I went to the book drop, I think it was earlier in the week. I don't often stop there that much, but there was a Robert McCammon book there called The Night Boat. Now, what I've noticed from being on Whatnot is horror novels go for quite a bit, and even though this isn't in perfect shape, I'm sure it's worth having, and the cover is pretty cool. Sorry, that's out of focus. And I actually read a couple Robert McCammon books when I was young, and I remember liking him. So this could be interesting. I'm wondering which ones I read though. But anyways, and then there was a DVD of Stagecoach. Now it's in pretty rough shape, but that's okay because I don't keep these plastic cases. I put these inside the other cases that I have. But this is what a gorgeous cover that is. I love painted covers. And this is from that golden year of 1939. I'm sure I've seen it, but I definitely need to rewatch it. And I think, this was even, it won 2 Academy Awards, but it was up against Gone with the Wind. So I'm wondering what it could have won. Okay, there you go. So every once in a while in the free book drop, you can find some interesting things like quantitative and verbal reasoning books to drive your spouse out of the room. So the first, should I talk about? Yeah, okay, so we can get some unpleasantness out of the way. So I made a video, lighthearted rant. It was just silly. I was just being silly, basically, and saying, I wish people would put, music clips in their videos because I like seeing them. And I even preface with, I know copyright and whatever, but you guys quit being lazy, blah, blah, blah. And I had a bunch of people unsub from me. I was like, what? Now, I don't care in the least. If you're going to unsub because of that, I'm kind of shocked, but here's what I wish. I actually wish that people would unsub from me who don't really want to watch my videos. I've gotten subs, I guess, because of contests or what have you. But, I mean, I have just under 7, and I was at 6.99 for so long. And then it went to 6.98, then back up to 6.99, then 6.98, and then it dropped to 6.95, and I haven't even checked now. So, I lost subs because of that. It's okay. But I know I am absolutely not having 700 people watch my videos every week. I'm lucky if I get 100. I wish those people would just unsub for me. If you're not watching my videos, I would prefer you just unsub. There, I said it. It's like, I would rather people sub to me who actually want my videos in their feed and are actually going to watch my videos, regularly. You don't have to watch every single video I put out. I mean, I did a 3-hour Gab Fest. It was a live thing. I don't expect everybody to watch that. I was just on there for fun, and I had great people jump on and talk with me. And I never expected it to be 3 hours. I don't expect anybody to watch all of that. Uh, but I mean, I'm happy that, you know, the people who do sub to me, they would get notification of that just in case they want to watch it or join in. So that was that. Record store day is tomorrow. And here, my local record store, it starts at 8 in the morning. So I'm going to have to get up early. I was chatting with Morton Assad, and he was saying that, Astad, that he is practicing to get up because he's not used to getting up so early in the morning, especially on a Saturday, right? And so he's practicing to get up so that he won't be, I assume, so tired on Saturday morning. I'm looking forward to it. The thing is, I can never tell because it might be a warning sign if they're starting at 8 in the morning, because near my house it's going from 8 to 10, and then they're going to close again. This might be an indication that they're expecting a bigger crowd. I'm not sure, but sometimes we go and, like I said, it'll be down the block, and other times we go and there won't be anybody there until like 10 minutes before. And so I'm never sure. Like, it starts at 8 tomorrow. Should I get there at 7 or just show up at 7:45? So usually we just go at like 7:30, grab a coffee across the street, and then get in line. But if that's already too late. So what am I looking for? I'm definitely looking for the Chris Isaak. And I know my record shop has it because he made a video of all the records that he has, and when he was flipping through them, and he has the Chris Isaak. My husband wants the Dead or Alive. I didn't see that in the flip through. Now, there is a Gandalf record that I'm kind of interested in. I don't know if I've even heard it, but it's got a cool cover, and I'm sure I would really like it. Now, if it's 40, I won't buy it. If it's 26 to 30, and it's a reprinting of a difficult to get album, I might get it. I saw some really cool jazz ones, but I usually don't end up getting them because they're usually $40 each. I'm like, why? You don't even know this album. Doesn't have a great cover. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sneeze. I know. I feel it. I feel it coming on. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. Eesh. All right. So that's record store day. And that's tomorrow morning. So I'm sure there'll be a slew of videos showing off what you got. Who knows? I'll probably make a quick video to show off what I got. Oh, that reminds me. I got another 5 issues of American Art Review. And this is the entirety of 2018. Now, unfortunately, the seller that I bought these from, he only had this year and the other year. I think someone bought, he had 3 years. And he doesn't have any more. So it was a really great price. But look at that cover. Here's another one. That one. And one of them I'm going to show you had a big flaw in it. Look at that. Yeah, one of them came and the cover was ripped and it was taped up, but it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it was this one. Good, because that's the ugliest cover of them all. You can see it's like ripped right there. And yeah, it was taped together. And I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, that was kind of complaining, but I mean, I'm not going to write to the person and say, hey, this magazine was damaged. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of those. I've only read one article from one issue so far, and it was a really, really good article. And what it was doing is there was an art show, and they were trying to tie together 3 artists, and they were trying to tie together like how they went to school or did something, and they did, but they were showing all their various art pieces through their lives, and it was a really interesting article. All of those articles are really eye-opening for someone, a newbie like me to that. Okay, so what do we have? Galaxy of Terror from 1981. So I was writing to sleep, and I was like, I'm just going to watch some trash TV tonight. And he's like, what are you going to watch? And I'm like, hey, I'm going to watch this old movie, Galaxy of Terror. And so here it is. Now, it was streaming, so I watched it on streaming. And the funny thing was he watched it too, and we were laughing because this movie is a Roger Corman movie, need we say anymore? And it's a total ripoff of Aliens, but it's got so many people in here that you'd recognize. Like, it's got Robert Englund, who was who was Freddy Krueger, had this woman who was in Twin Peaks, and wait, where's Robert Englund? Oh, there he is. Can you see him there? He was also in V, and it also has Joni from Joni Loves Chachi, right? Happy Days, and I forget what her real name is, but it's just such a hilarious movie. Now, it's kind of important though, because this movie was made before Aliens, the sequel to Alien. Sorry to be patronizing. But the important thing was that James Cameron worked on this movie, and a lot of the scenery and the sets and everything, they say really does look like Aliens, because he was the one who, worked on this, and then he went on to make Aliens, I think not long after. And so what happened was, I watched this movie, and then I started investigating because I was laughing so much, and I was chatting. And I found that there is this special edition. There's a DVD and a Blu-ray, and it's got all of these special features. I just love these art house editions of these really bad movies, and they go to great lengths to give you all these special features about these really bad movies. And I cannot wait to jump in and start watching some of these. So, yeah, the thing that I was going to say is, like, I actually opted to get the DVD over the Blu-ray. Number one, Blu-rays definitely have better quality. Number two, these are B movies. I'm not sure if I actually want a really bad B movie in like crystal clear presentation. And number three, the DVD is fine. And number four, you get more art. Like, Blu-rays are usually only about this tall, right? And then the DVD is this, and you get more cover art. And I prefer this is much more, what we call it, displayable and collectible to me. So it even has reversible art. Now, the bad thing is this one came with a cutout, and it's right through the cover, but it's still it's still pretty cool for the price that I paid for this, because I bought it used on eBay. So this movie, like I said, is a ripoff of Aliens. It's with so many other things thrown in. It's got some bizarre special effects. They're fun. It's total B movie. The acting, the people in it. There is one scene that is infamous. They even say it's the most infamous scene in film history, because there's a giant maggot, and I don't know, spoilers, I don't know, who cares if I spoil this movie. There's this giant maggot that rapes a woman, and as he's like he's like rubbing up on her, like trying to crush her or something, but it's obvious that he's like having sex with her, because as he's rubbing, all her clothes go flying off, like you see everything, and then as she's being killed, she's like enjoying it. It's so bizarre and bad, but if you've never seen that scene, first of all, maybe sensible people would never want to see that scene, but it's infamous, and I think everybody should see it once. It's pretty crazy. And so, yeah, they say it's like one of the most infamous scenes in movie history, and it's to be found in this Galaxy of Terror, and this is streaming. I think it's on Tubi, and I think I watched it on either HBO or Amazon Prime. Like, one of the stations actually has it. So, but if you watch it on Tubi, you're going to have commercial breaks. So I might be talking about this again next week, because I'm definitely going to be jumping into some of these special features. So hilarious. Galaxy of Terror, Roger Corman cult classic. Hold on, I'm adjusting that. Got to take good care of my collection. So that was the only movie I watched, and I'm going to tell you why. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, I made a goal for myself. And that goal was that I am going to start reading these sci-fi books that I bought. I bought so many of them, and they're just sitting around here, and I'm like, no, you're going to read them. So you're going to read one book a week, random. And so this week I picked this book, The Overlords of War. It's by, I believe, a French writer, Gerard Klein, and it was translated by John Brunner. And I've actually read a book by John Brunner. So I read this. It was 189 pages. It was a little bit longer than the one I read last week, especially because there was more words per page. But still doable. But I was having a lot of trouble because every time I would sit down and start reading, like after school, I would just get drowsy. And one time I even dropped the book. I fell asleep. And it's not because the book is boring. I actually really enjoyed this book. But I'm just tired after school. And so it was Wednesday, and I'd only read 100 of the 190 pages, and I was feeling kind of down on myself because, the other reason I couldn't read is because every time I do something, I pick up the dang phone. It's like I can't put it down. I'm as bad as the kids. And so I would read 2 paragraphs and say, I need to text somebody, or I need to, let me play a game. I've read 5 pages. Let me go ahead and play a game. So bad. And so finally, what I did was yesterday, I came home and I got a new stereo component. It's really small, and I'm very happy because it doesn't take up much space, and I finally am able to listen to my LPs again. So I'm going to be reviewing LPs again. But I put on an LP and I sat down and read because I knew within 20 to 22 minutes I would have to get up, turn the record or put it back to the beginning, and that would keep me awake. And so it worked. And I was able to, finish the book yesterday. And also I tried to keep the phone out of my hand as much as possible. That was a little bit more difficult, but I was able to do it, and I got through the book. So this is a real struggle, right? I used to read so much, but the distractions going on, I don't know. It's so much easier to watch a movie or to watch a TV program, but you get so much more out of reading. Not more, you get a lot, it's like a different experience, right? So I like to do both. Well, anyways, let's talk about the book. The Overlords of War. This was a crazy time travel book where, it's like perpetual war. I mean, this book goes through so many crazy incarnations. It just keeps you going. There's weird aliens. It starts where he crash lands on a planet where he was with an alien that is super deadly, and he has to get away from it. But this alien ends up, he gets it in a cage somehow, and these aliens can shift through time. And he gets stuck with it, and he gets shot with the alien into the far future. And then it just goes from there. And it's wild. It's it jumps back and forth through time. And it has so many ideas. There's a one little paragraph, and it prefigures the Matrix. It's like you read the Matrix in one paragraph. And then it went on to another idea. And I was like, whoa. And this was in the early 70s. So all those sci-fi ideas that, I thought was pretty fantastic and new for the Matrix, actually not, right? So and I think those were run-of-the-mill sci-fi ideas about time travel from, the 70s and the 60s. So would I recommend this? I'm not going to say it's the best book I ever read. I certainly had a lot of fun. I like time travel. It wasn't the best time travel book that I read, but I'm certainly glad that this is a book that I owned and I finally read it, and I'm just going to keep going. I need to stick to my goal of reading one of these books per week because it actually gives me a sense of accomplishment, and Garage Geek needs to feel like he's doing something worthwhile. So that might mean until I can get that rhythm going with reading again, I'm going to be reviewing fewer movies and shows, unfortunately. So I read 2 other books. One of them is a book that I'm reading with my students, and I went ahead and finished it, although we're going to be finishing it next week. So of course I'm reading a little bit ahead. And that was Tuck Everlasting. So this is a children's book about a young girl who she's like 12, I think. She stumbles across a family in the woods who are visiting a stream, and this stream keeps them helps them be immortal. It was actually a fun book. It had some really interesting ideas, especially for younger people. It's definitely a young adult novel, but I enjoyed reading it, and I enjoyed talking about it with the students. The students seem to be really liking it as we discuss it. And so, yeah, Tuck Everlasting. That's one I read with my kids. And the next one, the last one that I read, I totally finished, was The Chosen. Now, I do not remember how to say his name. Chaim Patak, I think. Chaim. Could be Chaim, could be Chaim. Sorry, I cannot say his name. So I'm just going to say Chaim. Okay, so that's not how you say it. So anyways, this is his first novel, and whoa, did I enjoy it. Like, as soon as I take that away, the lighting's weird. Whoa, did I enjoy this book. This book was phenomenal. So that was recommended by Morton. So Morton said that this is one of his favorite writers, and I know I read one of his books when I was a lot younger. So I think he recommended this one and another one, and I went ahead and grabbed this one. I don't know why. It was the only one available from my library, and it happened to be his first novel. I loved it so much. It's about two youths in the early 1940s, and they're both Jewish, but one is like a hardcore Jewish, like Hasidic hardcore, and the other one not so much. But his father is an intellectual, and he tends toward the religious. And it's about their relationship, and it gives us a glimpse into what Hasidic Jews' lives might be like, and the thought processes, and what it was like maybe for them in society around this time. And then it cleverly ties into what's happening in world politics at that time in the 40s, and I think it goes up to the mid 50s, or it goes from when they're like young teens to when they're like about 18. So there's a lot of talk about the formation of Israel, and how that affected the communities. This book, the way I'm describing it, does not sound great, but this book was fascinating. I loved it. It was gripping. I really got into the characters. I got into their lives. I liked the interaction between the two boys, and it kept me going. I thought it was really good. And another thing that it really gave me insight is how different the kids are from this era to now, because not all, but these kids were raised on study, and they studied like daily, and then they studied on the weekends, and they would memorize parts of religious texts, and it was just like they were so intelligent and always studying, and could rattle things off from memorization. And then when I look at my kids and at school, and they don't hardly read anything, and they very, very rarely have to memorize anything these days. And it's so different now. This book was like a slap in the face about how different, like the way like kids used to be able to write. Like if you watch like one of the Ken Burns, like the documentaries about when people were writing during the Civil War, and they would be really young, and they would be writing, and it's like they sound like authors. And it's just shocking because many of the kids today, they can't touch that. Anyways, I'm going on a little bit of a mini, like, those were the days kind of thing. But this book really does raise some interesting ideas and questions, and I love this book so much. And there's a part 2 called The Promise, I believe. But it's not available, so I might have to end up buying that one and reading it. It's not available in audiobook. This was his only book that was available in audio. So that was The Chosen. My sister says I rub my nose too much, which is true. Like, my nose is itching right now. Okay. So I talked about the books, and I want to talk about The Goon. So I read the second, which is actually the first edition of The Goon, and I loved it. I think I said this last week. Like, the interior art is great. The story is fun. I showed that before. I mean, that art is stunning. This book is so enjoyable. And I'm definitely going to be, look at that double page spread. I'm definitely going to be, and the ads are even funny. I'm definitely continuing because I'm loving it. Look, when they go into the past, they have a different way of doing it. Yeah. So cool. So The Goon, loving it. Highly, highly recommended. And that was the only comic that I read. Like I said, most of my time was spent just trying to get through that book. So hopefully I can become a faster reader so I can watch some more. All right. And I went to Medieval Times on a field trip. I'd never been there. So if you're not familiar with Medieval Times, although it's in so many movies, it's basically an arena where they come out and they joust and they fight, and you eat while they do that. So it was a lot of fun. For my first time, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, for example, here's an arena or someone. This was the MC guy. He came out on a horse. They do a lot on a horse, and people sit around in these stands. There's like 3 layers. And the queen would be up here, the court, and someone's writing to me. And yeah, so for example, here's another one where he's talking to some knights. I think they did a special show for the kids since everybody there were schools, and so like the first half they did a section about the chivalric code, and these I guess knights in training, they were bullying another knight. And so, I mean, they did it. And then they had another section about bullying on devices. And it was funny because they had to do the anachronistic, how do we get over like these people not having cell phones? It was pretty clever how they did that. So here's a picture of them on the knights. So, oh yeah, and there's the Queen's Court up there above. But it was really neat to see these people do tricks with horses. Like there was this one guy, and he was like sidestepping with this horse and going around and doing different steps around the arena because he was giving the horse as a gift to the queen in the court. And he came out and did all of these. Like, it was beautiful, I thought, just watching him like do that with the horse. Okay, oh, here's a cool picture. So Sleepy showed me how I look on his giant. He got a really big screen TV, and so he showed me how I look. He sent me a picture, and I thought that was so cool. And people on the internet don't have much to do, so somebody put out a song that was recorded today, but in the style of like a really old song, and they put out a fake cover. And you can go ahead and listen to this song. It's by the Sticky Sweethearts, and it's I Glued My Balls to My Butthole Again. And you can go ahead and listen to this song, and the song has lyrics, and it has like a story about what happened and how that happened and how it's affecting him. And it's sung in a style like that's really old. I mean, people on the internet, they're like, don't they have anything better to do? But anyways, that really made me laugh. So I saw that on Facebook, but you could probably listen to it anywhere. Ben Rankins, he's in this band, and that's the cover. And I can't remember. I think the band name is the Church of Hysteria, and this album is called Ears of Hell. And I started listening to it, and I really like it. Like I listened to the first 3 songs a couple of times on repeat, and I'm really enjoying it. It's on Bandcamp. It's punk. I'm not that big into punk, but I'm really enjoying the songs. They're catchy. The lyrics are making me laugh. I think that's what punk should do. So sorry if you're not supposed to laugh, but I was. Uh, I'm going to. I think I'm going to do a review of this album in the near future, as soon as I can, listen to all the songs in a way. And I think that's everything except for my controversial topic. Record Stores Day, unsubs. Yeah, everybody's unsubbed me after my last video. I guess Garage Geek is not as beloved as he thinks. It's good. Knock me down a peg or two, because that's what I need. Right? All right. So here we go. So Morton wrote to me last night, and I was like, thank you, Morton, because I really had a really thin, kind of weak show, and I wanted something that I could talk about. And he was like, are you following the Slabbed vinyl thing? And I was like, not really. I knew about it, but I was like, is it getting popular again? And oh, crap, I don't have a slab with me. It's back there. I don't know if you can see them. They're back there. I could grab them, but then I'm going to look really bad. So basically, people are putting collectibles in plastic, and once they're in plastic, you can't take them out. They're graded by a professional, and the professional usually gives a grading scale between 1 and 10 with increments of like 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, and that kind of thing. The higher the grade, the more valuable it is. There can be a wide variation in price between a 9.8 and a 9.0, and I'm talking could be thousands of dollars, even though a 9.0 looks beautiful. There's a lot of controversy as to whether these grading systems are valid. A lot of people don't like them. A lot of people don't like it for the fact that once it's in there, you can't touch it. Now, for example, a baseball card or any type of card inside of a slab makes perfect sense to me, because you have the front and the back, and that's it. It makes sense. A VHS tape, I don't know. Most people won't play a VHS tape, and so if they want it as a collectible, then maybe it's good to have it in a slab, especially if that movie is available in another format easily. So magazines, baseball cards, and any type of card, VHS tapes, posters kind of make sense, right? Because all you have is a front. You don't need to touch it or anything like that. But there's a lot of controversy over this. Now, when you have an album that you're going to put in the plastic, so that's the thing now. Slabbing vinyls is starting to take off. And I was watching a couple videos, and I watched a video, like a couple videos of people talking about it, and then one from a company that was promoting it. So you can just type in slabbed vinyl, and you can find a bunch of videos on YouTube. So there's a couple companies called VMG, and that's Vintage Media Grading. And there's AAGS, Archive and Grading Systems, and then there's one other. And these companies are getting into the business of slabbing vinyl. And so there you have an example. It's an album in plastic. This one has a 9.0 rating. It has the front and the back. And you might ask yourself, well, what's the point? Like, you can't play it. Well, what they're doing is a lot of the companies will digitize it so that you can turn it over and scan it, and you can listen to the album that way. I mean, that's one, like, kind of justification, maybe, because you still have access to the music. But here's another example. Here's a Rolling Stone that is 8.5. Here's a Prince one at 8.5. I guess it's because it still has the sticker on it or something. It's got sealed with hype sticker and limited poster. The thing is, once the poster's inside that, you can never see it. It's like, and it's being sold on eBay for $1,300. Now, one thing that is upsetting to people is that you can never see the interior or listen to it. So, for example, let's say this was a slab. I'd only be able to see this and this, and I'd never be able to see the interior of this ever again, right? And then let's say the record has a really, interesting label. This one just has a straight up Capital One. You'd never be able to see that again, right? So you're just getting it in a slab. Now, why would someone want to do this? If there's an album that is like a first pressing and then you're never going to listen to it, but you want it, it's a really like worth a lot of money. It makes sense to slab it, right? So that you can know what it's worth, what the grading is, and you can know like it's protected now. And if your children ever like, they don't want your collection, they want to sell it, well, then they could easily sell it, right? You're actually preparing them for that eventuality because it's much easier to sell in a slab and you get a lot more money for it. But what a lot of people are, complaining about, well, here's another one. Here's Nina at Newport. What a lot of people are complaining about is that once this happens, the market starts going crazy. It did with comics. Like, it divides the collectors in so many ways. I'm going to go ahead and put my iPad away while I talk about this. It really divides it. They were saying in the videos, expect to start seeing slabs appear in your local record shops on the walls. Initially, people only slab like the most important records, but pretty soon people see it as a way to commoditize records, and if they've got extra cash, they will start slabbing their records and buying up important ones and then putting them in the slabs. And getting them slabbed is not cheap, by the way. It looked like it cost about $100 per record if it was unsealed. If it was sealed, it was more like 35 to 40 for one record. And that's probably not including shipping or whatnot. So it is expensive, but if you got a record worth a couple thousand, that's nothing. It's worth it. But it's going to divide the vinyl community in so many ways. And the vinyl community is already full of a lot of strife. You're going to have people who are in it just for the money, and there are already people in vinyl. They go in and they're only looking for most important records so that they can buy them and maybe a flip. That happens a lot in the comic community with key issues. So this is something I think that is coming. It's going to become very prevalent. You're going to start seeing it. There's probably going to be a backlash in the vinyl community. But I think it's not going anywhere. I think it's going to be here, and it's coming sooner than we think. The people in the comic community and other types of collectibles have been dealing with slabs for quite a long time now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops in the vinyl community. I do have to say that vinyl in slab look beautiful. They do look like art pieces, and I'm attracted to that. But there's no way I would buy this really, really expensive album in a slab when I won't even buy it unslabbed for a lot of money. Like that, I just wouldn't do that. The only reason I would buy a slabbed album is if I could get it because somebody else didn't want it and I got it really cheap. Like they were hoping for a higher grade. That's how I get my comic slabs now. So, knowing that this is coming and it's going to be here sooner than later, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And wow, I didn't think I had a very long show for you tonight, but it's already 39 minutes. So I want to thank all of my viewers for my support. I'm hoping that my sub count goes down so that the people who don't really want to watch me, I'm hoping they go away. Because I hate when I put out a video and then all of a sudden I lose like 5 to 10 people. It's like they must not have wanted to watch me anyway. Okay, I don't need to go off on that again. But I want to end my video by saying Wait, what is... I can never remember. I gotta write this down until I remember it. Remember, always try to be intelligent. Have a great week.